The Every Student Succeeds Act is a bipartisan education bill signed into law by President Barack Obama in December 2015. It is actually the eighth reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, which was part of President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty. The Elementary and Secondary Education Act was meant to ensure educational equity across socioeconomic class lines by establishing the federal government's power to regulate education.
On this vote, the yeas 359 and the nays 64. The conference report is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Washington this morning, President Obama is signing the Every Student Succeeds Act. The Senate passed the bill that is being called a fix for No Child Left Behind. Among other things, the bipartisan compromise is going to return to states the authority to decide how to use students' test scores in assessing teachers in schools.
The 2015 version modifies benchmark testing standards previously set forth in 2001's No Child Left Behind Act, which set academic achievement goals for each grade level with a heavy emphasis on accountability via standardized testing. Failure to meet these goals, regardless of the reason, resulted in corrective actions and potential school restructuring. Critics said that the one-size-fits-all approach failed to address the needs of each individual school, often leaving the more needful schools at a disadvantage. In response, the ESSA offers states the funds and flexibility to create their own standards and assessment systems, and includes the option to partially utilize portfolios, projects, or extended performance tasks. The ESSA still requires a certain amount of annual testing, but it discourages states from implementing too much. While many welcome the flexibility inherent in such assessment styles, critics pointed out that the time it takes to develop and grade such projects could be preclusive for teachers. ESSA also allows districts to opt out of state tests as long as they substitute a nationally recognized exam in their place. Critics argue that this limits districts to using college entry exams like the SAT or ACT, which are only designed to assess college readiness, not learning. Additionally, as the tests were not developed with federal guidelines in mind, they may not use the correct or most up-to-date standards. The way states have applied this new flexibility has been both similar and diverse, and deadlines set for long-term goals range from 5 to 15 years. 33 states have included attendance measures in some form in their accountability policies. 35 states have included post-secondary readiness measures like AP, ACT, or SAT test scores, or technical education pathways. 14 states proposed a return to a letter-based A through F grading system, including Florida, Mississippi, and Texas. 12 states proposed to include text-based performance measures instead of grading. According to Chris Minnick at the Council of Chief State School Officers, states engaged tons and tons of stakeholders in the development of these plans. This is actually a plan from the states. And in previous iterations, we didn't have to do that because the federal government was telling us exactly what to put in plans. Brandon Wright from the Thomas B. Fordham Institute was less enthusiastic, saying, "Overall, it's not terrible, it's not great, but I think I would lean towards the side of a little disappointed." Whether the Every Student Succeeds Act will succeed or fail has yet to be determined. In May 2017, the Collaborative for Student Success published a report entitled ESSA So Far, 1-Year Analysis of ESSA Media Coverage, State Activity, and Expert Opinion. The analysis found that the media coverage thus far has mostly been neutral. Later in 2017, the Republican Congress voted to repeal a number of regulations contained within the ESSA, leaving the law on the books but giving the Department of Education a great deal of autonomy over issuing accountability guidelines for states. 11 ESSA plans have been approved as of January 2018.
Created using Powtoon.